Sometimes fate brings two people together in such an amazing way that it is even difficult to believe in some stories. No one ever knows where these lonely paths intersect. By pure chance, puzzles often line up in a big picture. And then no one and nothing can change. This is how you can describe what a girl named Amini Abrahamson went through. The girl was born in a fairly wealthy family. All her childhood was spent at home in Sweden. And after graduation, she moved to London, where she graduated. Sometimes fate brings two people together in such an amazing way that it is even difficult to believe in some stories. No one ever knows where these lonely paths intersect. By pure chance, puzzles often line up in a big picture. And then no one and nothing can change. This is how you can describe what a girl named Amini Abrahamson went through. The girl was born in a fairly wealthy family. All her childhood was spent at home in Sweden. And after graduation, she moved to London, where she graduated from the university. Life was developing as well as possible. Higher education. Later she worked as an actress in Amsterdam. And by the age of 29, she was the director of the whole theater in Vienna. At first glance, everything in her life was planned out to the smallest detail. All but one. The girl was lonely. Due to his work schedule, tours and business trips, she could not find her soulmate. At a time when all the friends got married, and even had children, Amy whiled away the long, good evenings alone. She had no lack of attention from the opposite sex at all. But somehow it's not right. It was 2005 on this street. Amy was already 29 and her anniversary was to take place in a week. But for some reason, this did not please her in any way. To distract herself from sad thoughts, the girl decided to arrange a small vacation for herself and go to Amsterdam. One day, after a busy day, the girl was sitting on a bench waiting for her friend with whom she planned to spend the rest of the evening. She watched passers by in couples in love. And somewhere deep down I envied them. She was bored. After all, there would not be a person with whom you could share everything in joy and sorrow. And at that moment she even made a wish. After all, the birthday is soon, who knows? Maybe it will come true. It was a wonderful moment, when the poor fellow suddenly spoiled it. Amy spotted a homeless man approaching. Usually, seeing such people, the girl ran away from them. She was simply terrified of the homeless. With every step the homeless man approached the girl. And Amy seemed to be rooted to a wooden bench. A young guy turned out to be homeless. Despite the fact that almost all of his face was covered with a beard, he was all dirty and smelled bad. Moreover, a few meters away, coming closer, he asked what time it was. Although there was a huge clock in front of the bench, the girl looked at him in bewilderment and immediately answered. As Amy recalls now, it was something inexplicable. I have never made such acquaintances. Moreover, I stayed away from them. But I still cannot explain that day. However, what was most striking was the guy's confidence. After all, there was such a social gap between them. And he was not at all embarrassed and continued the conversation. Because there was enough time. Amy was waiting for a friend. She did not chase the stranger away. And I decided to support the dialogue. Word for word, they got to talking. And the girl felt that it was very easy with him. He understands her perfectly. But even more she drew attention to his brown and beautiful eyes. She couldn't look away. Strange, but she was very comfortable. And the homeless man could not take his eyes off the beautiful girl. The conversation lasted no more than 10 minutes when Emmy's friend approached. All this time, people looked at the couple with surprise. Before leaving, Vig, and that was the guy's name as a joke, made an appointment at the same place in 5 days. The vagabond's confidence was amazing and captivating. Of course, the girl did not plan to come on the appointed day. And most likely the homeless person will forget about it too. But she couldn't get the next week out of her mind. Having suffered a little in thought, Amy reassured herself that she had nothing to lose. She still had a whole day before leaving home. With a leisurely gait, she decided to walk to that very shop, to watch from afar whether homeless man comes to meet him. And to the surprise, the guy was already sitting and waiting for Amy. The next meeting went just fine. They talked a lot about life and got to know each other better. Amy now recalls with a smile. The homeless man has prepared and even put himself in order a little. But hands and nails were terribly dirty. He arrived on a small, almost childish bicycle and carried a suitcase, which, as I thought, happens only with mad people. Then I found out that inside his bag was a sleeping bag and a can of beer. The same evening, a homeless Whig said that he once traveled across Europe, but the money ran out quickly. It didn't turn out exactly as he had planned. The guy comes from the USA and has no parents. Interrupting with small earnings, he spent everything on alcohol. What he himself confessed. This is his weakness and he cannot do anything about it. So he ended up on this street. And he has been living in the park for over a year. Vic understood that he was just a homeless alcoholic. But when he saw Emmy, something inside him changed. Since that day, he hasn't had a drink. They talked until late in the evening. Vic had an incredible sense of humor, and the girl was very easy with him. At the end of the conversation, the girl said that she would return to Vienna tomorrow. She does not know if they will meet again someday. The girl left her phone number to Vic out of politeness and went home. In Vienna, the girl did not stop remembering him. Such a holiday romance. But where is Amsterdam, and where is Vienna? On the day she turned 30, the phone rang in the house. The girl reluctantly picked up the phone, expecting to hear another congratulation. But instead, she heard Vic's familiar voice. Her heart fluttered. He just told her, "Hello, I remember that it's your birthday, so I decided to personally congratulate you." The girl expected to hear simple words of congratulation, but the man surprisingly told her that he wanted to go up to visit her. Then she understood from bewilderment. He's here. When asked how he did it, he replied, "I arrived by train." He planned to be 2 days early. But the man was detained by the police for stealing chicken from a store. The girl remembered that day for the rest of her life. After all, since that time, Vic and Emmy have been together. And they never parted again. The man settled with the girl, and from the very first days he began to look for a job. From the moment they first met, the Vic did not drink alcohol at all, and after a month it was simply unrecognizable. This handsome man could never have been the same homeless man in the park. Having overcome many bureaucratic delays, 2 years later, Emmy and Vic got married. At first, the guy worked as an electrician and provided for himself and the Emmy. And 6 years later, the couple had twins, Desto and Theo. The man took the addition of the family as a challenge. Now he had to work even harder. After all, now everything rested on him. He started a small renovation company. 15 years have passed since then. The couple is doing well. Children know how their parents met. But nuisance still do not understand. They just found it funny that their dad lived on a bench. Subsequently, Emmy wrote a book, How to Fall in Love with a Man Who Lives in the Bushes. After all, she literally found her happiness under a bush. Together they performed live on the UK channel, where they talked about the book and their love story. As Emmy herself says, "For all these years, I still did not wish that I came to that meeting. We never even once fought. Namely, I dreamed of such a husband all my life. Each of us has our own love story. We are connected with those who are our people. And this is the best proof of this." Friends, chuck it for today. Write your opinion about this unusual couple. Also like it, and see you soon.